Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. It is Wednesday, it's hump day, and let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods. Wake up there, guys. Okay, it is so funny. I've been doing a little bit on Twitter. I've been I've been trolled a little bit, and I've been trolling the trollers, and I've been having a little fun. And it's funny because no matter what you say about Dak Prescott, they've got an answer. And when you catch them and stuff, it's funny because they'll go through and say, "Oh no, we're not talking about that guy. We're talking about Dak Prescott." And so I was having this discussion with a guy who kept saying, and I didn't understand it at first because I don't spell good. I'm the first person that's never going to correct somebody in spelling. But he talked about Dak Prescott and his BEBE gun. And I kept going through it. What is he talking about? He said that Dak Prescott's arm is weak and can't throw downfield and this, that, and the other. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Wait. And I said, well, let me ask you this. I said, what are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson? He said, Deshaun Watson, he's a great quarterback. If we had that guy, we would end up being in the Super Bowl. And I was like, wait a minute. It's like you do realize that they have the exact identical playoff record, 1-2. That Dak Prescott actually threw almost a half yard further downfield than Deshaun Watson, right? But be that as it may, I don't want to go ahead and trash this guy. But his comeback was, yeah, but Dak Prescott's got more weapons than Deshaun Watkins. Deshaun Watson doesn't have any weapons. And I was like, Hopkins? That's not a weapon? That guy who literally makes quarterbacks look great because he can jump out the building in one hand and make catches like nobody. I was like, that's not a weapon? But I started thinking, and I appreciate the fact that this troll reminded me of something. Because regardless of whatever happens with Dak Prescott, it's always somebody else gets credit for it. It's never Dak Prescott. It's Zeke Elliott. He's got the best back in football, and it's the offensive line, or it's the weapons that he has around him. And what's funny is this. Before these guys came to the Cowboys, they weren't thought of as great weapons other than Zeke. I'll give you Zeke. Zeke is an incredible weapon. Excuse me. But it's funny because talking heads and people out there, the Dak haters will say, well, look at the guys. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got Randall Cobb. He's got Michael Gallup. He's got great weapons. Of course he's going to succeed. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. When we look at Matt Ryan had Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu before they traded him, and they drafted Calvin Ridley. How'd they do last year? They didn't make the playoffs. He had great weapons around him. Now, he did have 4,400 yards, 26 TDs, and 14 interceptions, and a QBR of 92. So, he had incredible weapons around him. But Dak did better than he did, didn't he? Okay, all right, forget. Because I know what will happen is people will say, well, he's got a garbage coach, or he's garbage. That's what they'll say. That's what they'll say, and that's fine. But let's get back to the talent that Dak Prescott has. Because we got Amari Cooper, who I believe had Derek Carr, who at one time was an MVP candidate, and there's several teams that are interested in making a trade for him, who was thought about as, one of these great young gunslingers. And Amari Cooper, they looked at him and said, meh, let's see what we can get for him because he's checked out. He's not doing very good. And most experts, when the trade was made, was the Dallas Cowboys are freaking idiots. You gave up a number one for a guy who is a bum. And don't tell me I'm lying. Don't tell me I'm lying. You guys, a lot of you guys said, what are the Cowboys doing? My son even said it. You can't give up a number one pick for a receiver. But let's just go to the numbers. I know a lot of you guys don't like numbers and things like that. You'll just say you're manipulating the stats. I'm not going to manipulate anything. I'm just going to look at this flat out. Before Amari Cooper came to Dallas, his best season was 1,153 yards, 13.9 yard average. Boom. And 5 TDs. Most yards. His most yards per reception, his rookie year, 14.9 yards per completion. But since that time, he went downhill. 14.9, 13.9, 14.2, 13.4. Right? 13.4 actually was with the partially with the Cowboys too, because it was 13.7 with Dallas, 12.7 with Oakland. And in fact, those 6 games that he played in Oakland, he only had 280 yards. 280 yards in 6 games. He comes to Dallas, he plays for 9 games, gets 725, and gets up to 17.4 yards per completion. And what's amazing is even last year when people say, he was ineffective coming down the stretch, I believe he was still injured. What's amazing is he had his best year ever. 1,189 yards, 15.1 yards per completion, and 8 TDs. That is his best year. That is his career year. He improved over where he was in Oakland. Because when people say, you would think the way people talk that the receivers are actually throwing the balls to themselves. That Dak Prescott is just standing there and just waiting for the play to get over and getting the credit. Okay, all right. So the argument is great quarterbacks elevate the players around them. Am I wrong? Is his play elevated? He wasn't that weapon the last couple of years. 2017, 680 yards. 2016 was the last time he was great. Okay, that's just one example. Look at Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb, monster year, 2014, 1,287 yards, 14.1 yard average, 12 TDs. That's damn good. But after that time, it literally looked like he dropped off the face of the earth. He went down to 829, 610, 653, and 383. Right? Here's the amazing thing. Most people looked at him, the Packers cut him. Well, he's not really going to be able to do much for us. His time has passed. And he signs a deal with the Dallas Cowboys. And lo and behold, 828 yards as a slot receiver. And he averaged 15.1 yards per completion. That is the highest in his career. I don't know, but doesn't it seem like if this year was as good as, the best it's been since 2014, hasn't he resurrected his career with Dak Prescott throwing to him? 15.1 yards per completion? That's pretty damn good. Okay, but wait, there's more. Dez Bryant. Here's an amazing thing. I thank this troll for getting me off on this tangent. Because the amazing thing about Dez Bryant, 2014 was the career year, okay? 16 TDs, 1,320 yards. He was amazing. He averaged 15 yards per completion. After that year, unfortunately, Dez Bryant was injured. His body just started to fail him. But here's what's interesting here. Even in 2016, where he missed 3 games, and it took him a while to really get back into form, here's the interesting thing. He had 8 touchdowns, but look at this number right here. 15.9 yards completion, almost a yard better than 2012 and 2014. So when I ask you about, or you say, Dak is a garbage-ass quarterback who can't get the ball downfield, that's further than Tony Romo ever got him downfield on average. Am I wrong on that? So that's 3 out of 3 receivers that all had career highest receptions per pass. Right there. Let's go a little further. Let's look at Michael Gallup. Because here's another one of those weapons that people talk about. Oh, well, he got great weapons. Look, he's got Michael Gallup. Funny thing is Michael Gallup wasn't considered to be like DJ Moore or Christian Kirk or Calvin Ridley, Sutton, or like James Washington. He was a third-round draft pick. This is what the experts said about Michael Gallup. Positives. Athletic wide receiver prospect who still has potential to improve. Efficient blocker who can be an asset in the run game. High cut, long strider who's faster than he looks on tape. Shows balance, concentration on sideline routes. Solid play speed. Very good catch, post catch. Better route runner, expected to have high cut frame. Negatives. Here's the negatives. Why he was a third round drafted wide receiver. Was shut down when facing Alabama and beat up a bad conference for bad numbers. They said he only played good against bad teams. Would like to see aggressive attempts on 50-50 balls. Pigeon-toed runner, stepper. Rounds corners out on routes. Needs to fight to hold tight lines on cuts. Only 2 years of Power 5 football. Overall, Michael Gallup is an interesting prospect because he fits the bill with size, athleticism, and hands. The biggest adjustment will be going from a limited time at Colorado State to the NFL. He's a player to watch for 3 years, and not to expect a ton from him right away. Don't expect a ton from him right away. What's amazing is this. DJ Moore, he's got 1,963 yards, 13.8 yard average, 6 TDs. Compare that to Michael Gallup, who's got 1,614 yards. He's 300 yards less. But Michael Gallup is averaging 16.3 yards per catch and has more TDs than DJ. Christian Kirk blows him away. Christian Kirk's got 1,299 yards, 11.7 yards per completion compared to 16.3 and 6 TDs. Calvin Ridley, who has, mind you, has Matty Ice throwing to him, has 13.3 yards per completion. He does have 17 TDs, though. And basically, his yards per completion are better than any other wide receiver that was drafted ahead of him. So is it Michael Gallup playing better than what the draft experts thought? Yeah. Is Michael Gallup throwing the ball to himself? Because as I look through, here is four receivers that all have had career yards per catch. Guys that were thought of to be great players. You did not look at Michael Gallup and say, I'll take Michael Gallup over Calvin Ridley or DJ Moore. You didn't do that in the draft, now did you? Now revisionist history will say, oh, well, he's a great receiver. Is it great because he just ended up being missed? Or is it great because of the guy who's also working with them that gets a repertoire? Because Randall Cobb, you looked at and said, oh, well, he's done. A lot of people said, why are we signing this guy? We need to go out elsewhere. Keep Cole Beasley. Yet, he has a career year in yards per reception. Deep. Amari Cooper. You looked at that guy. We got fleeced when we traded for him. Yet, he has his highest yards per completion down the field. And even Dez Bryant, almost a yard longer than when Tony Romo was throwing. So, dude who says that Dak Prescott has a BE gun for an arm, I hate to say this, but nah. All these guys are going downfield. I tell you what killed our average as far as passes is when you had Jason Witten in there. Jason Witten, of course, Father Time. He brought down those numbers. Now, I know what's going to happen. You guys will turn this around and you'll find a way to spin it, but let's say, or let me reiterate this. It's not that he has great weapons. He is maximizing his weapons. He's making his weapons better. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, I keeps it real. I'll see you soon.